And welcome. We are the Lost Caravan RPG. We do one-shots, we do mini-campaigns, we do long-running campaigns, we make sure that our camera is centered. If it's TTRPG, we pretty much do it all. That is apparent no more than it is today, because holy cow is this game out there, and I am so excited. But before we get into it, as you can see, our lovely cast is just ready and raring to go. Do have just a few announcements. Our casting call for August, I believe, closes tonight. So if you or anyone you know would like to come and roll some dice with us next month, you can find that casting call there on our Twitter there, and also in our Discord. It's that big old button down below that says Discord. It's where we hang out. We post all of our cat pictures, our baby pictures, and just where we generally hang out and be giant nerds. I have to get it all out now because this is going to be serious and it's going to make me cry, I'm sure, because these are fantastic nerds around me. Um, but other than that, usually, not tonight because it's a very special game, but usually our tokens are made through heroforge.com, a fantastic website where you can. Oh, I'm sorry. Backtrack. Our moderator Nova says, unfortunately, August is already closed. Sorry, buddy.
Mm.
I lied. I'm a big liar.
September's right around the corner.
Right? You can still come join the Discord, though. Still come hang out and then sign up for next month. But our tokens are usually made through HeroForge.com, a fantastic website where you can make hyper-customized miniature models, get them sent straight to your door. You can even paint them there on the website. It is just amazing. They're constantly adding new features. Recently, they added fishing gear and the ability to have fish in your models. They added more cups because they heard how much I loved the first cups that they added. So now they have more. They added Lionheart armor, which is that like heavy plate, and it's got the lion sticking out of the pauldrons. It's really cool. And if you wanted something in between the more feminine, more impractical high heels and the thick ass adventurer's boots, they now have flats that you can add to your models. Practical and adorable.
Seriously,
I
who's
need
gonna be
heels
fighting in
better.
heels? Can we be
I need,
practical?
I need heels double the size of what they had. They need to be 2 times higher. I need to
I
tower.
need stilettos.
I need daggers on the stilettos. I
Um,
need tinier knives.
in addition to Hero Forge being our sponsor, we have a new sponsor, being Epidemic Sound, a website that gives us all these amazing royalty-free music that we use each and every single stream. So if you like the music that we play and you want to use it for maybe your home games or just use it in general because they have amazing stuff, you can use the link there in chat. Not only will you get the aforementioned cool music, but you get a 60-day free trial. If you don't like it, just cancel before your 60 days. Either way, it helps us out. We heckin' love you for it. All right, I think that is it for my announcements. Other than tomorrow, Game of Pathfinder. Nailed it. So,
Nailed it.
nailed it. Let's throw on some music here. Brought to you by
That's
Epidemic Sound.
down.
Officially brought to you by Epidemic. If it decides to play, it'll play eventually. So, why don't we go around the table and let everyone introduce themselves and what very little they know about the characters they're playing tonight. Because in the game of skeletons, you don't know anything. You are a skeleton cursed to guard a tomb for eternity. You don't remember anything about your past life, who you were, nothing. But we're going to catch a little bit of those memories as we play. Starting with my camera one, which is Turk.
Hello there. Sorry. I promise this is gonna be a very serious game. Despite everything I've done up to this point. Hey everybody, I am Turk for Turk Extension on Twitch and Twitter, and tonight I am the horror. in a strange amalgamation of bones, unlike anything any human would normally be. I've been assembled, summoned, imagined by unstable minds, and made real for your perception here. Just like at most times on your screens, but
Yeah.
I won't dwell on that.
Alright, moving over to camera 2, which is Matt.
Ooh, I am Matt or Sin Synthetic 20, Synthetic 20 TTV on Twitch and Twitter, you know, the things. Today I am playing the Arrow Shield, which my defining feature is the fact that I have a shield that has a bunch of arrows in it. That's my character.
Yeah. In fact, everyone's feature is going to be something just a teeny tiny detail.
I also have a bearded axe. That's fun.
How an axe grew a beard, I will never know.
He's not
Uh,
ready to
To
come out
say.
yet.
Moving over to camera 3, which is Fleet.
Hi, my name is Fleet, pronouns they, she. You probably have recognized me from more sillier roles that I've done on this caravan. Tonight, hopefully, will be no different. We'll see how long it takes for me to break the tension with a fucking hammer. Hoop, I'm so sorry. You invited me here, bro. Tonight I am playing the skeleton who wears a silver torque, which is a hard, stiff necklace of silver around their neck. Don't really know anything else about themselves. Their nickname is Pretty.
Alright, over to camera 4, which is Heck.
Oh, hey everybody, it's me, Sir Hecklot. Tonight I am playing the outsider skeleton who also really doesn't know that much about themselves. And their defining feature is that their bones are unlike the others. They perhaps don't come from this dungeon, who's to say? But also that they have very fearsome armor and a weapon, again, that is very much suited to them and unlike any others. So we'll see how that goes.
Absolutely. Over to camera 5, which is Taylor.
Hey, I'm Taylor. Oops, I just realized my mic is faced away from me. Hi, I'm Taylor. Roll for Felicity on Twitter and Twitch. And tonight I'm playing Big Head, which is a very small skeleton with a very big head. And that's really the only thing I know about myself. No thoughts, big head, empty.
No thoughts, head empty. Love
Big
it.
head, big head.
A big head, little arms.
I don't think this plan is very well thought out.
Thank you. And then camera 6, last but not least, Tabitha.
Yes, I'm Tabitha Brooke. I'm an actor out of the Pacific Northwest, and I am playing Headless. My skull is long gone, but it doesn't matter. I carry an iron mace and a holy symbol. I don't know what any of that means. And I don't have a nickname that I go by. I just go by whatever anybody calls me, because I have no head, so they don't know if I'm okay with it or not. Fine.
Love it. All right. Well, start up. Other music. A transition scene. Bam. That. So, the years, the decades, whatever they may be, however long it's been, they fly by like dead leaves. Everything is darkness. Everything is silent. You stand vigilant before the sarcophagus, without thought, without breath. Such is your compulsion. You do not remember your name, and yet still you watch. The flesh has long fallen off your bones, and yet still you watch. And then one day, there is light, there's motion, and you weigh your bearded axe, you raise your shield, lusting for the fray, eager to measure your skills against the tomb-robbing children so full of blood. You'll never be alive again, but in this moment, this chaos between volition and destruction, truly live. And remember what you once were. And for just a moment, taste the sun. If I could, I had a dice. Found my dice. They're my bloody dice because, of course, they are. D8 here. Reroll 8s. 2. Taylor. This prison, this tomb. While you may not know how you got here, where you came from, there's a detail that is just burned into your mind for once and for all times. What is that detail about this tomb that you could never forget?
Is this the question on my sheet, or is this something different?
It's up to you.
Let me think. Yeah, I think there's pieces from a different skeleton before that we can't remember anymore. Just like some bone scattered, but none of us want to move them or touch them whenever we are, like, up and about.
There
Um,
was another. They were slain and did not reanimate.
yeah.
All right. Well, in that moment of all of you finally surging with life, surging with the desire to kill and to protect this unholy of places, the cracking of those stone sarcophaguses echoes out through these unhallowed halls. Which of you would be up first? Which is you most eager to get into this fray?
I think probably me. I am up for battle, up for glory, whatever glory I can snatch in this state we're in.
Okay.
It shall be mine.
Well, standing there, not 120 feet from you at the most, is an individual, an amateur. They call them a tomb robber. Some call them an opportunist. Would you describe them for me?
Yeah. A person is wearing dark clothes, black, so you know they're an amateur, because real people sneaking around wear blue to cover themselves over the cloak of night. They have stud work over what looks to be leather armor made more for show than for actual combat. And they have a silver hilted dagger. The actual blade is steel, so it does nothing against the unholiness that we are. But they think it does, because they're uninformed, unprepared for what's about to come.
Would you say that this dagger, they wield it comfortably, or does it feel foreign in their grasp?
It feels heavy to them, like they want it to fit. They want to be what they are attempting to be, but they are not succeeding.
As you lurch forward out of your tomb, weapon in hand, ready to charge, you see that the others have also started to rise. Some of their tombs cracked over the unknowable years you've been down here. Does anyone else match your stride towards this individual, or are you so eager to spill the blood that you just are racing ahead?
I would race ahead, and if anyone joins me, that's fine. But as long as I am ready, I am in combat mode.
Would
For
any,
glory!
would any of you say that that eagerness would flood into you as well, and you would be able to keep step? Fair enough.
Yeah, not me. It's gonna take me a minute.
I mean, same here. I don't really think I got into like the description of what the outsider looks like, at least in my mind. But I feel like the outsider is more just a strange like amalgamations of different skeletons. So, the two like patellas don't match even along like the pelvis the pelvic symphysis, like the two halves of the pelvis are mismatched. There are actually more digits than like just the five toes on the feet. There's some type of like constructive like polydactyly of some different carpals or tarsals and metatarsals along the feet. And it's definitely not suited for running very fast though, because the different leg bones are also different heights, so there's just kind of this click every time that they take a step. Um,
Beautifully
and
creepy.
yeah, as much as like, you know, Alter wants to like have joined into this fray here, they kind of also know they're more of an ambush fighter at this point.
Well, then, I'm sorry, Matt, did your skeleton have a nickname?
Uh,
Should I just call you the Shield, the
They've-
arrow-ridden shield?
they've forgotten. I
An
think
arrow
that
shield.
that fits. Like they're hoping to regain the memory of their name and the glory of combat.
Well, the arrow shield charges forward. How do you slay this very amateurish individual that holds the blade out towards you weakly? You can see it's shaking in his hand. How do you defend your home?
Uh, the easy thing to do is to take the shield and bash away the hand that has the dagger, which would knock it loose because of
Easily.
their nervousness.
Easily.
And then use the bearded axe to cleave this soul as I have many more,
Pretty?
directly separating right in the shoulder area.
So pretty.
As this happens, Pretty is slower to get out. As soon as they see the silver hilt, it's like they lock in. I think they just go towards the silver hilt, and as this whole fight is going down, ignores it, squats, and stares at themselves in the reflection.
I will get to you in a moment because I have a perfect question for you. But, arrow shield.
It's silver.
What is a question? As you cut down this individual, there's memories that start flooding back into your brain. What is a question that you would like to answer in this moment? If you don't have one, I can choose one from your sheets, but if you have something in mind, please feel free to add it.
I remember a battlefield that I stood on where I was adorned in very heavy plate mail. Even in life, I was truly faceless. Whenever I killed someone, they did not see what was behind the helmet in the visor.
That's
But I remember that surge that comes with the fight, the adrenaline, that feeling of taste of metal in your mouth when adrenaline hits.
that echoing chorus of cheers from your companions still rings out in your non-existent ears. It reverberates in your mind, cheering you on. It, all of you absolutely screaming for battle. And in that moment, it's rekindled in you, that little piece of your life brought back. But
Hell has not enough souls for amateurs like this.
the rest of you coming to life, stepping forward, scanning the room for intruders, for whatever has awoken you, mostly seems quiet as this individual is cut down without mercy. Would any of you, if you would like, we can go down the line, but if there's anyone that has a question in their mind that they'd like to answer right now, please go for it. Otherwise, I'll jump up to Turk. Or, I'm sorry, the outsider. Not the
I was
outsider.
looking at my
It's
questions.
not
What?
me. It's not me. No.
I was looking
Or-
at the questions. What was the
Headless.
question?
But I'll.
Headless.
What did I do?
Dang it. I knew I should put these down. I will get it.
As entertaining as it would be to have you go through all of
Oh,
them,
I will.
I could absolutely jump in once I am in focus, but maybe being out of focus is also just as scary. So the question for me that I can answer is what subtle thing in this place speaks to a purpose far, far beyond honoring the noble dead? And I think as the horror, the strange thing that animates itself from pieces along the wall, pulls itself, it reveals, if I might be so bold as to even draw,
Please do.
a hallway leading down to another sealed off chamber, but all can hear behind it a soft thumbing of energy. What that is, who knows? Well, actually, I won't go so far as to resume the shape of it even.
No, please do. You are adding this
Oh.
detail.
Yes, whatever. But
Mhm.
once I can actually draw things, y'all better luck out. Come on, draw on the map, you. I'm trying to draw the stuff along, but basically, he'll move. The creature will move itself out into the main corridor,
Okay.
and just kind of be slowly pulling itself together. Odd bones assembled in strange places, and seems to even shift even as it stands, somewhat congealed together.
Horrifically beautiful. Fleet, this, I think you may have already had this in mind, but the silver, obviously it immediately drew your attention. What's the importance there?
It's pretty. I like pretty things.
The memories, again, spark, seeing this image, seeing that shiny reflection, that little bit of light from the adventurer's torch still flickering out. What memory comes to mind?
Remember being small and looking up at a woman. She passes me a small trinket, small necklace made of beads. You shine in the light, and I have a strong feeling of love. I believe that was my mother. And then the feeling almost rings hollow. There is nothing to contain it anymore, and it drifts away. But I know she was my mother.
And much like the battle cries that echoed in your companion's mind, the vision just floats there and gently floats away like a current. Over to Taylor. The question you would like to answer.
Yeah, I think I've been thinking about um, the questions, the first question actually on the sheet, which is what offerings were left to assist in the journey to the next world. And I think what Big Head is doing is as soon as Arrow Shield like fells this person, Big Head's like body is much smaller and starts to like kind of go over like very like almost like the momentum of the body having catch up with the momentum of the head a little bit like forward.
The drunk run.
Yeah. And I'm holding like a glass, almost like a potion bottle, but it's empty. And I rush over to the person and hold this bottle over to their body. And as that happens, a little wisp of like blue, like ghostly energy goes into the bottle, which I then very carefully carry over to another area of the tomb. And you can see there's a bunch of bottles like this lined up that have this energy. And I pop it into like the line of bottles.
Feel free to add it to the map.
Yeah. I'll add it onto the map.
Slight follow-up question. Does Big Head know the purpose, or is it just, this is what I must do, I must collect this, I must put the bottle in?
I think I remember as at first it's just a compulsion as I'm doing it. It's like I'm not very strong. Like I probably have never been like the one to take out any of the intruders, but I know that like as soon as an intruder is taken out, this is what I'm to do. And as I'm holding the bottle, I think, and like going back over to where I need to like pop it into place, I have this memory. I don't even think I remember what the person looks like. I just remember whoever put us here telling me that in order for us to continue to be able to like keep fighting and keep protecting, that's imperative that I have to do this. And
Yeah.
I think you can see on like the ground in front of like this place on the wall, there's like broken glass from like whenever these bottles are used, they like turn to broken glass on the ground.
Absolutely. Yeah, and feel free to add it to the map. Let's then we will move down to Tabitha. What's a question you'd like to answer?
All right. I want to answer, whom did you once love? And I think Headless, whenever he wakes up, is one of the first thing that comes to his mind's eye is this beautiful Spanish woman. And she's got just like raven hair and the big, brown eyes, and she's dressed very traditionally, and it's just her face and her smile and just the feeling that he used to have whenever he would see that smile. But there's not really any conscious understanding of exactly who she is, but just that there's depth of meaning there.
Absolutely. Similar to the others, that image is there, that foreign feeling of love, of warmth and hope. It lingers for just a moment, just like the softest of kisses, and then just fades away on the wind. Down to Heck. What is a question you'd like to answer?
The question that I want to answer is, how did you come to be among these strangers in life and then in death? And as various memories like come back to the outsider, there tends to be a pattern. They only know the dark stone walls of this dungeon. Any concept of this thing they call the sun does not make sense. They only remember the clattering of bones or other implements throughout the hallways, and just vague visages of each of the other skeletons' faces or what their faces used to be like. kind of meshes together in their memory in strange amalgamations. Um, to figure out that they found the outsider here somehow. Um, maybe deep underneath the dungeon itself,
Oh,
or
you were here when the rest of them arrived here, or at least most of them.
or at least most of them. Um, almost, yeah. They remember different like stratifications of the dungeon, basically. So they're from under, so it's still from outside, but they found the outsider here somehow.
The sound of tools, as though those images of the layout of this place briefly enter your mind, just race through. You've been through these halls, you know these halls. Sound of tools striking stone, of individuals carrying dirt and rock up and out as this place is being carved out. Who knows how many years ago? Your memories could predate known history, for all we know. But because you did slay this individual, Matt, what is another memory you'd like to, or another question you'd like to answer?
Um, I think what uh by name did you earn in life that describes your greatest accomplishment?
Oh,
Uh, I was known as the butcher among those that I fought beside. Even though we were comrades, I was always thought of as apart from them because I would go too far on the battlefield. I would give no quarter to the enemy.
right.
And now I see it as just a continuation of what I once did.
I have now changed your name in the stream to the Butcher. Fleet, if you would like, I could also change your name to Pretty.
Please do.
Have we decided which wall is east?
The east wall.
I figured it was up is north, down is south.
I thought so, but you never just want to presume. We could have some. All right, so I'm supposed to figure out what scene is depicted on the fresco that covers the eastern wall. So let's go do one of these.
Well, I'll give you a moment to think about the
Oh
image.
yeah, go for that.
While I did roll on the Glory Fades table. As this individual is slain, the disruptive magics that bring you all to life, it's starting to wither and die. Pulling you back into your sarcophagus for another rest. But one of you has lost some of your bones, some of your skeletal structure. Who was it? And what did you lose?
Already lost too much. Okay, guys.
If you'd like, I can also roll that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You got
like that. I like
six.
the
Six.
Let's see
surprise
what
factor.
happens.
Heck,
Right.
you lost
Oh,
some
is it me?
bones.
Oh
What is
no!
it?
Oh.
Oh no, my bones.
Drink more milk.
I
need
feel like.
some milk.
Oh no, no, this is supposed to be serious. Um,
Clapping.
it's fine. I think. Yeah, I think the outsider will have lost a fair bit of the larger portion of their sternum, called the manubrium, that uh, as you look at it, it just kind of crumbles apart from what looks like potentially like some tools that they're remembering hearing in their head, um, in the memories, or like incisions or something. Maybe you're not entirely sure. There were all of these marks over the manubrium that just crumbles apart. So
Hmm.
now it is harder to keep that ribcage together, but
All right then. Tabitha, what does your mural look like?
You know, that's a great question. I can't figure out how to get this thing to get off my mouse. It's following me around. I finished building the wall, and now it won't let me finish building the wall. That's
uh,
a reference that I can never use again and feel good about it.
hit the spacebar, I believe.
No.
Oh,
Okay, well, anyway. Um, so I kind of wanted it to be essentially a picture, a depiction of the top layer will be Earth, and there's a bunch of warring factions. There's just war and death. And then underneath that, you see what looks to be kind of like where we're at, whether that be a place or whether that be like a realm. There's a bunch of dead and skeletons fighting some people from the top. And then there's another layer on the bottom that's been kind of destroyed. So we can't really, if there's cracks in it and everything, and you can't really see exactly what that was, but it shows a lower layer. And there you go. How I would depict that on here, it's anybody's guess.
It looks identical.
it's
Absolutely.
beautiful.
Mine. Theater's mine, people.
Well, to my magic, as threat is dealt with, the invader slain, now here, joining you all in eternity in this place. The grinding stone of your sarcophagus locks back into place for some of you. For others, that sarcophagus door has long since cracked, crumbled away. But nonetheless, you return to your prisons, as you will do forever. Time passes infinitely, and yet it could be nothing more than a few moments. Sound of earth moving above you rumbles. Cries echo out, muffled to the point that they can barely be heard this far down. The world is moving on without you. It's not until you are called upon once again. In all of your minds, that voice, that one key component that binds you, that you can never, that's burned in your mind like no memory ever could be, telling you to arise, protect the tomb, our skeleton guardians. I'm sorry.
Wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey.
There we go.
Possibly.
A year has passed since you last had an intruder. This time, it's not a physical entity that has stepped forward, that has broken into your sanctum. The individual you had slain still lies there, body now decayed, rotted away, almost nothing left. Who of you would step forward to deal with this threat?
May I ask what it looks like? Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna go for it.
For it.
Well,
I was just gonna the horror will animate itself from the crumpled bits of bone that it could smash itself into the walls with, and form a giant monstrous thing.
Well, what does this spirit look like?
A spirit.
It is a
You say a
spirit,
being of nothingness?
a being of nothingness, not a physical entity, but an otherworldly spirit.
Fantastic. This spirit is of a great plunderer and warrior. Someone who, even in the afterlife, clings to their mortal possessions because it is what they judge themselves worthy by. Things they took from others and seek to continue to take even in this life. Whatever energies are present here might have drawn them, and they seem to revitalize two large axes of different styles. One very much a savage and cruel thing, seemingly almost made from something's jawbone. The other, a more sleek and obsidian looking weapon, all, of course, incredibly spectral. The all parts of them seem to be trophies more than something that was made for them. All they have taken.
If I may add to your specter,
Oh, please do.
as it appears, manifesting through the walls, it is racing towards Pretty, hands outstretched, the very, very barely physical manifestation of their hands rotted away, reaching towards your prize, your silver dagger, just moaning out, "Must have. Give. Mine."
Yeah, there's not like a roar that could be made, but the maw that is constructing itself into a long beakish thing will extend with with extreme anger and push itself wide as extra bits of stone are thrown into the jawline to create teeth, and he'll charge. It will charge. The horror will charge. I charge, damn it.
I think as soon as, if I may join the fray,
Yes.
as soon as the spirit whispers mine, it's almost as if something in Pretty snaps and she just starts screaming over and over, and has the dagger and a dull longsword and starts slashing wildly. There's no skill. There's something afraid and furious, and it's just a scream that echoes through the hollow caverns of bone, as if old sinew is breaking free and moving once more, yet there is nothing but dust. And as the horror makes the attack on one side, Pretty is going to defend what is hers.
Absolutely. Two of you ripping into this thing, its mostly spectral form, accepting each blow after blow, slowly cutting it apart, each trophy being severed from its body, landing to the ground, and what was these beautiful trinkets rapidly age and decay, showing the years and years since they've been acquired. Magic no longer keeping them their beautiful, pristine states. And with one final gasp of "Mine!" figure is banished from this plane of existence. Two of you standing there.
So, in the description of the horror, there are kind of gems bedecked into the bones that make it up. If I could, it just those gems will kind of shimmer, and that spectral, rather than being released, will just be kind of pulled into it.
Ooh.
All the bones, and it'll briefly glow, but then die down yet again.
Yes. Well, with the two of you standing there over this thing, the rest of you having awoken, stepped out of your tombs, minds igniting with that flame of thought once more. We'll start with Turk. Is there a question you'd like to answer?
I think now would be a great time to remember the byname that I earned in life that describes the fear your existence evoked.
Oh.
I And there's a thought as it looks down at the glamorous treasures that have been rotted with ages, and a kind of memory as it takes these fingers and bones composed of other bones and strange things that should not be bone, and it kind of swipes it towards Pretty and makes its way back towards its wall smashing to be disanimated for the moment. It that last kind of bit of terror and horror as that creature realized it would find no true rest within it, stirs a memory, something deep, something only whispered out of its presence. Um, and it was and that the guards and dilettantes and others who wished to bend the ear of those in power thought could not be heard, yet could, because it was everywhere. It was the royal Nasher.
Got it. That one. So does that name physically escape your non-existent throat?
More that its as it's walking away, its teeth kind of like shrink together and create this kind of soft, bony, and I hesitate to say like a xylophony kind of thing, but just like bone on bone scraping as it works its jaw, and all the bones in its body move around and find new places and resort themselves into spots. It makes a clamor of itself simply by moving, and then just kind of sits right in front of the hallway as it simply knows to.
Well, Pretty.
Oh, sorry. Royal Masher, Royal Nasher.
Nasher.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I got you.
I don't know how to spell words.
Oh, you're good.
Or
I'm
hear
way
words,
out of
apparently.
focus. So we're even.
Pretty, as this thing is cut down, its own treasures starting to fall off and hit the ground. What is a question that you would like to answer?
I think Pretty scrabbles down to try and hoard and have these beautiful things, but as they age, she almost holds them closer and she almost whispers, "It'll be okay" to it, but she cannot speak. Then the horror swipes near her and she flinches back, and it's almost as if it reflects the name she was called in her other life, the by name, Sacrifice.
To make
She
sure.
watches him.
You said the binding sacrifice?
Her by name was sacrifice. Whether that's binding or not, it's just sacrificial sacrifice.
Gotcha.
Not even a nickname. It's almost as if she holds these little trinkets close to her again. This time stands and walks straight back to the tomb to lie down and wait. Just wait.
Yeah. Taylor, the question you'd like to answer?
Yeah. I think the skeletons can communicate telepathically.
You have perfect telepathic communication between you.
I think as Big Head is like kind of like again like almost tumbling out, probably always like the last to the head is so hard to pick up with the little body. Sees like the other two like returning probably by the time like Big Head is managing to get out. And I think telepathically communicates to the other two. Actually, maybe I have a pitch for Pretty, but I want to see if it's okay with you first. One of my questions is, who here among the skeletons most feared you in life. And I know you said that your by name was Sacrifice. I was thinking that Big Head was maybe some kind of like religious like figure. That's like what a lot of the questions are kind of geared toward. And so I was wondering if maybe Big Head is like the one who chose you as a sacrifice. Or there was like some sort of like power thing, but I don't want to make that decision like, you know,
I think
for
that's
you.
I like that a lot. Please make that decision. I agree.
Okay.
Let's go.
My
That's
heart.
wonderful.
So I think pretty you hear Big Head's like telepathy with you saying we need to be keeping these souls. We can't let the horror take all of them. And I kind of gesture with my head over towards the wall where one of these glass bottles is missing, having been used to like bring us up. We need to share the souls between us all. We can't have us taking more than each other.
And do I get my soul? Because it seems I didn't gain a thing from this. Yes.
We
And do I
share.
get mine? Do
We
we?
have one each time that we split amongst ourselves.
Seems to me that mine keeps getting forgotten.
I think there's like a quietness, and Big Head says, "In the end, I'm here the same as you."
I don't understand. Don't know you. And I think Pretty is going to turn and then offer one of the ugly shiny things to Big Head.
I think Big Head takes it and it crumbles in their hand to nothing.
Better to have and to have lost than to not have had even a little. Pretty shiny things. Pretty.
Alright. Over to Tabitha. It's a question you would like to answer. You are muted with eternal silence. Cursed.
Well,
That like-
yeah. So, even though we can all communicate telepathically, I think anytime you hear Headless's thoughts, they're in another language. And so he's very disoriented most of the time. And when he gets up, he can't see. So he's compelled and driven towards whatever it is he's supposed to kill, whatever it is he's supposed to, keep out. But he runs into stuff each time, like, and then there's a table there. He has to go around that. So it's going to take him forever to get anywhere. And so he's really never there to actually fulfill any of it. So each time that someone comes in and he doesn't get there in time and he doesn't do it, there's this sense of like emptiness. There's this sense of that's the way it always is. I never get what it is I'm seeking. I never get anywhere that I'm going. And there's memory to him of that. And that's tied to who claimed your head and why. And he remembers a very lordly Spanish man who looks like he's obviously very wealthy, possibly somebody of the upper echelon who's very important. And this person has murdered this beautiful senorita that he loved, and he's watching it. And that was this man's intention: was this was my wife, and you and her were in love, so now I'm going to kill her in front of you and take your head. So he watches her die, and then his head is taken, and he's put in this place to guard something he can't see and to continuously be in a state of not being able to accomplish his goal, as a suffering, as a penance for what he did.
Does he still see that last image of her being killed?
Yes, like now that he's seen her and he remembers his love for her, and now he sees this happen, and he has that same empty feeling of, I couldn't save her, I couldn't get to the end goal, I couldn't do it, and that just keeps reverberating.
Yeah. Love it. That is amazing. Peck, is there a memory or a question that you would like to answer?
Yeah, I think I'm going to collaborate on the whole religious official thing, if that's
Oh.
all right. Because one of my questions is, who here amongst the skeletons did you once serve, and why? I think it'd be really interesting for the outsider and Big Head, or at least the outsider, to have like served the religious leader for having found them like deep underneath this dungeon to begin with.
Ooh.
That's very cool.
That's
Something fucked up happened here.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Something
Big
really
Head, are
fucked
you
up
the
happened
tiny
here.
alien that
It's-
has come
Dad, are
from
you
the
a
past?
cult leader?
There's so many.
It sounds
Sounds
like
like-
Big Head was leading some kind of religious.
Big Head had some shit going down.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
All hail, big head.
Oh, hell, Big Head.
Oh, no.
Big
Over
head.
to
Yeah, this is the religious.
That's why we're here.
All hail, big head.
um
Oh, no.
over to the butcher.
Yeah, and I've been thinking, and I also have a pitch for Pretty, because I
Okay,
feel like
right.
it makes sense, if she was going to be sacrificed, that there would have been someone to accompany her to that, to protect her on the way, because she needs to be sacrificed at the place.
No running.
And this is all, uh, the butcher would have been that companion. Do you feel good with that?
Good with that.
Okay. And that's to answer the question, who here among the skeletons did you once feel fiercely loyal to,
Oh.
and why?
I
So
wanted so
And
badly.
I think that the butcher, in the final moments before they were supposed to hand off the sacrifice, refused.
So it's fucking Snow White over here.
And that's why the butcher was
Butcher.
put
Shit.
here.
Yeah.
Because if they wouldn't do what they were supposed to do willingly, then they had to be forced to do it, to comply with the order. So that one moment of going against the grain, for some reason, did not want the sacrifice to die. They were cursed for eternity.
I have a follow-up question for you. Obviously, you feel that loyalty. Is there a sense or a feeling of love?
I don't.
It doesn't have to be like romantic love. It could be
Yeah.
platonic love. It could be a father-daughterly love.
I think maybe familial love?
Okay.
Like that. I like that a
Does
lot.
that...
Yeah.
Okay.
Amazing.
Not necessarily like father-daughter, but
Yeah, familial.
Friendship.
I think some sort of family, and that's why it was the butcher's duty.
This is so sad.
What's gone wrong? Never cults, not even once, baby.
But with the intruder dealt with, all of you start to return to your tombs, your prisons. Heck, what is a detail that you would like to add to this tomb?
Actually, gonna go with the detail that I was supposed to do as we created the map together. What are the signs of pending collapse, damage, and decay in this ancient place? I am going to say that there are at least like, well, yeah, we'll kind of spread out a little bit. So towards the east, there are a number of hallways that have now like had like these noticeable like dips and cave-ins from this dripping acid that is completely sourceless. We have no idea where it's coming from at the current moment, but we know not to go in that direction because acid and
Acid from
bones
the
don't mix.
sea.
It's just the public, like the public being the skeletons. We don't know where the acid's coming from. We know we just can't go down there anymore. Admire the mosaic. Don't go down the hallway.
Exactly.
Guys, do I need to put up a barrier?
Yeah.
Last time we
Headless,
went
do I
down
need
there,
to put up a
Nasher
barrier?
lost a toe, okay? We can't do it again.
I am beyond
The hazard.
toes.
Clean up an aisle floor.
Would you like to add that hallway to the map?
I will.
And beyond
can-
toes. Meanwhile,
I'll see
Outsider
if I
has
can
like
draw.
17 toes.
As I
I
roll
have 17
for
toes. I'm fucking
the
amalgamating
God's
while you were
Laugh
there.
table.
Oh no.
Oh, that sounds.
That's a
terrifying.
happy table, right?
4. 1, 2, 4.
I don't know if anything can be happy in this game.
Oh,
I think
God.
we've crafted like a very, very sad narrative.
I'm happy. I have my best, like,
He's living his best
giant,
life.
gangly skeleton gnashing boy.
Taylor, something from your past has been accidentally revealed in this last intruder's attack. What was it? Why was it hidden here? And please note it on the map, whatever it may be.
Ooh.
This cult's getting deeper.
Yeah.
How hard can we cult?
How hard can we cult?
And we cult
much higher.
Oh, what is this? Can you read the prompt again?
Absolutely. Something from your past has been accidentally revealed. What was it, and why was it hidden here?
Yeah. Ooh. I think, yeah, going with the cult thing. I think at some point during the attack, something was like smashed like against a. I think even someone said that like, and I think the wall starts to like there's like cracks, and you can kind of see behind it that there's a chamber that's been like bricked over. And you can see in it like what looks like some sort of like religious chamber. There's like a kind of almost like decaying throne, and like seats around it,
Ooh.
and like religious iconography.
Like almost like a
yeah,
chapel?
yeah, like a chapel, I think. Yeah.
We're getting to the bottom of this.
We're figuring out what this cult is.
Alright.
Yeah.
Well, you all will return to your individual tombs, your places of rest. Time will once again pass. The lights fade. The sound dies out. Those few moments of life that you enjoyed, or for some of you did not enjoy, dies once again. There's the sounds of rodents scurrying through the dirt, stones. Not quite enough to waken you from your slumber. But they pass by, thankfully not stepping little rat foot in here, should they meet the same fate as the other intruders. Time, as once a great person said, is a weird soup.
Hmm.
The seasons pass by. The ground freezes. Tunnel that had led into this place slowly starts to fill in. Little bit of light there may have been every time you had awoken. Now there is nothing. It's dark. It's empty. And it is peaceful. A decade has now passed since you were all last awake. And once again, that voice scratched into you, what's left of your minds, into your psyches. That call to action that you hear each and every time. Arise. Protect this tomb. Our skeletal guardians. You all step out. Once again, ready for whatever this may be. To glance over towards the center of this chamber. See not one, not two, but 5 individuals. One of them, pretty, immediately meeting what would be your eyes, and there's just this striking familiarity. A woman, very thin, very frail, stands in front of a group of others, injured, sick, meaning to protect them. A weapon outstretched towards each of you as you come to life. She seems to be the only one with the strength or ability at all to fend off guardians like yourselves. Which of you would be the first to reach these individuals, to remove these intruders from your home?
I feel like it's either me or Nasher.
Oh no,
Um,
others can have a chance to.
So yeah, we are kind of going down the line of giving
Oh.
everyone a chance to be the
That's
killers.
fair. Okay.
I think if well, I just had the other one,
You weren't the first. You.
but I wasn't the first.
Yeah, Nasher.
If
think
I
Nasher was
recognize
first.
her, I think there's something in Pretty that immediately reflexes. And no, 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 I don't want to remember, I don't want to remember. And to stop the memory, Pretty takes up her daggers, and just that unholy scream again gargles from the grinding of bones, the shattered neck. And she is going to start stabbing into this woman and just striking and striking, trying to stop her to get her away. I cannot remember, I cannot remember.
And obviously this woman has not, when during the time that you existed, she was not even a thought. But here she stands, a symbol of something reflected in your memories as you just lurch forward, daggers flailing again and again. Well, what is a question that you would like to answer? What is the spark in your mind?
Is familiar, you have said. Or there is a familiarity inherent in her, right?
Yes, something about her strikes that familiar.
Familiar. She's young. The way that you phrased that makes me think she's young. I think she looks like me. I think decades have passed. Well, no, I wouldn't know her if she's. Because I'm looking at what connection do you have to those you've killed or driven away? What memory do they evoke? I think.
Oh well.
Oh, then I'm gonna do this.
I-
I think that.
A small retcon to what I said. I was thinking that it's been longer, but it's only been a decade. So it's entirely possible that you did physically know this woman.
Okay. Yeah, I want to get that before the decade. I think that Pretty recognizes illness, recognizes desperation. This woman is, I want to say, older, and I think the word sister emanates through Pretty's mind. As Pretty rips and tears and runs. Sister, sister, sister. I think that makes it even more vicious. I think it makes Pretty angrier. I don't think there was bad blood. I think they loved each other very much. It's almost as if the fury of the memory, it's too much. It's easier to give in to the impulse. And so she does.
There's that very faint memory of mixed in with the the vicious assault that is happening, screaming "Sister," and that very overlaid with this gentle laughter of wrestling, playing, and then back to the present, this vicious assault to cut it out of your mind.
I think that Headless. You said there was other people, right?
There are 5 total.
I mean, I gotta make it to at least one by now.
I would say so.
I stumble my way. I stumble my way through the tomb, tripping over stuff, and if this is all kind of happening in tandem, I would think that perhaps just before Pretty attacked, maybe one of the younger people in the group who saw this headless skeleton, fall or trip almost laughed. Like there was a moment of nervous, fearful, like, that's not supposed to happen. And in my mind's eye, I haven't heard laughter in a very long time, but I know that I was associated with creating laughter and, jovial stuff. So I'm going to immediately turn towards wherever that laugh came from and just start swinging my mace back and forth, trying to silence it.
Absolutely. First 2 swings, nothing. The third one connects. There's that wet crack. And it is silenced forever. No more laughter.
Perfect. I think the question I would like to were you gonna say that?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Is that it says, what thing in this place did you lovingly craft with your own hands? Choose from those things already introduced at your table or note if you're able. So we didn't have a lot of like stuff in here, but I was thinking that I would like to have near or maybe inside the personal tomb that I go back to each time is a banderia, and it's an old traditional style Spanish instrument that's similar to a small guitar, kind of. And it's just old, and the wood is rotting, and so it kind of gives way to how long this person might have been in here before, almost as they've been in here. They were put in here as a how do you say, a punishment, but it wasn't necessarily because the person who put them here actually wanted anything in this tomb guarded. They specifically put them in here just to mess with them. So I created that banderia myself, and it's bringing back these memories of playing music and hearing laughter and the tinking of glasses and being able to see that beautiful woman from across a sea of people and not seeing anybody else but her, even though she's sitting at the side of, the lord of whoever's lording over this party. And so I'm a musician playing my banderia, trying to give people joy and falling in love from afar. And that's the memory that comes back to him as he goes back to his tomb and sees his banderia.
Would you say that seeing that object, does it bring the small sensation of happiness, or is it more painful to see?
I would say that at first there's the inevitable happiness, the kind of like the bubbliness that a party brings, but the recognition of who he was, what he did with his life, how everything was very silly and it was about drink and it was about making money. Um, it kind of brings that feeling of regret, and everything that he did up into his life up until he died was kind of just falling over himself over and over and over again. And so it just brings like kind of a sour bitterness.
Anyone else to have reached these invaders in your tomb?
I got a thing that I can hurt myself with. What freaking camera I'm using? This one right here. Hi. Hello. So, in the chaos of the onslaught of the undead, the members of the party are kind of pincered on either side. and through the chaos, a younger boy and girl, not knowing the light from the magic pulsation magics down the hallway that the horror uh, guards primarily um, run, thinking that to be an exit into confusion. They're lost, they're young, they're afraid. And as this monstrosity of the Royal Nasher throws itself together, jewels gleaming like eyes in their torchlight, uh, they watch as the hulking form continues to assemble itself and assemble itself, and the teeth lightly illuminate. And then the maw closes and it sits. And it seems to almost kind of make like a big biting motion that they take for an attack, and they run clean out of the way they came in as fast as they came. But if I could answer a question, similar, what connection do you have to those you've killed or driven away? What memories do they evoke? Um, there's a hidden in the darkness of this hallway. There is a long spinal, strange connection of singular bones on top of the other, and it's swaying back and forth playfully. And as images in its head of a young boy and girl who used to pat its strange head and make it feel nice, and it must have mistaken it for that. And it kind of shakes itself, the entire being rattling and taking on a more aggressive and spiked form as it charges back out towards them, not directly after them, but rather out into the main chamber, where I assume the rest would be carried out.
Ah. Well, I think to answer a question that leaves us with Taylor, the others have either been cut down or driven out. Is a memory that would, or a question that you'd like to answer?
Yeah, I've been trying to think of. Also, did the butcher go with a memory?
Oh no.
Not yet. We're going.
Okay, sorry. Oh, I understand. I thought you were saying I was the only one.
No.
That I was the next one too. Okay, sorry, misunderstanding. Yeah. I think as all of this is happening, Big Head is like going around with these, these bottles and like capturing the essences and kind of setting one down and then going over to the next body um of any of the invaders who have died, and sees this like room that that was revealed. I don't think they noticed it last time, and has this memory, because when they see it, they're not surprised, even though it was hidden. And I'm answering the question: what by name did you earn in life that describes your greatest accomplishment? And I think the by name, the Big Head Architect, as I know that room was there because I built it, and I built the place that we are, never thinking that I would end up here.
Damn. Okay. All right. Then down to Heck. What is a memory or question that you'd like to answer?
Yeah, I have another pitch for another person. So, the question is, what thing are you personally cursed to defend in this place? Um, and I think it's less a thing and more the outsider was cursed to upkeep and defend the Royal Nasher. As the the outsider hobbles out of the sepulcher. It's typically resides. And after the Royal Nasher has like smashed itself back into the wall, it's almost as if it had done this, like the outsider had done this time after time, just hobbling up frantically and um, taking whatever like scraps of leather or cloth or whatever decaying matter might still be there and trying to like shine the jewels and like keep everything pristine.
Amazing. Well, that brings us to the butcher.
Indeed. And the butcher is going to, because everyone has been killed or driven away at this point,
Yep.
correct? So the butcher is looking at what uh the person that Pretty has massacred and picks up a piece of the armor, um breaks it off, and it has a crest on it. Um the crest having a symbol for an ogre surrounded by a heart. And the butcher, without really thinking, slams it into their sternum with enough force to connect, because they realize that that person was from their family.
For both the butcher and Pretty, the two of you standing there over the body, now lifeless, the life physically draining out of her. That silver twerk you wear, Pretty. There's an identical match on her.
I think he slowly takes it off the mangled remains of the body. I
Okay.
think he turns. And is there
The curse of the tomb cut your voice out for a few seconds there.
is there twine or string among the bodies?
Absolutely.
I think Pretty is going to take the silver twerk. I think that it's very tempting. I think Pretty would like to think, if ever they thought in life that they were kind and good. I'm not sure, and I don't know either, just Pretty, if that was the case. Pretty is going to kind of kick and shove the body away almost thoughtlessly and take the string and tie it at a very specific angle, so anyone approaching Headless's tomb will make a sound, so Headless will know where they are.
Amazing.
I think I still the matriarch, I think. Does that mean I get to answer
You
one
get to
more
answer another question,
or...
yep.
It's what was your name? Here among the skeletons is kin to. I'm gonna interpret that because I think we established there's family. I'd rather not remember, actually. I think it's more fun for the narrative that the butcher is my father. I believe that it might be a more fun thing in terms of kin. I think there's a memory of laughing in a garden with a Spanish woman, having tea with a friend, the sound of a lute and knowing eyes, and the assistance of past love letters back and forth and back and forth. and hiding. And the blow came and running. And guilt. And I think whatever the opportunity arises with that memory, I don't think Pretty says anything. I think she continues to just set up noise traps so Headless can navigate. I think that's all.
Well, with the invaders slain, I have rolled once again. One of you, as you returned to your slumber, realizes that something you were protecting is lost. It could be stolen or simply missing. But, Nasher, what are you missing? What is gone?
Take my stuff, you son. Anyway, I think as the outsider is plastering back in the bones and smoothing out the gems and making sure that this hallway continues to act as it should, some ancient magic knowledgeable to their body, and even in the old ways. They'll notice that a small fragment of cloth has been torn around a kind of shoulder piece. And if I can grab that camera really quick. As the young children run outside, kind of in an act of just like mad, there's something in front of me shining and terrible, and it's opened its jaw, and to kind of like try and even push it away. The little girl holds a long collar, a strip of garment of very fine material that through the ages has crumbled and finally given way. And they probably don't even know they have it in their fingers right now, just with the pure terror they've been forced to push on with. More than likely, they'll drop it as soon as they realize it.
All right. The six of you return back to your slumber. I think we were over to the butcher as life once again dies out of all of you. Would you like to add something to the tune, please?
Oh. I think in a small alcove off of the main area, like here. My question to create the map is what amazing treasure lies hidden in this tomb, where and how. When I was initially killed, they uh, put my plate armor, cast it into a pit near uh, near the edge of the main tomb and covered it in rubble. So it is down there, my symbol of excellence, close, but forever out of my reach.
The lights, once again, go dark. Everything is silent. The world forgets you once more. Not that any of you could hear this, but outside of your tomb, voices call out, looking for survivors, for the refugees that were fleeing their home, the ones that were able to escape your terror, your guardian efforts, to rejoin the others and tell of the monsters that lurk down below. And as time once again begins to pass for our lovely skeletal guardians. We're going to take a break there. Give everyone a chance to stretch your legs, grab a drink, do whatever it is you skelly monsters gotta do. And we will be right back. We'll see you soon. And welcome back. Where we left off, our guardians had returned once again to their slumber. Time is not kind, and this place, having been sealed off on account of monsters raging in the darkness, is left forgotten for centuries. Because of that, I have rolled on the World Crumbles table. So, roll for who was Tabitha.
Crumbles.
Unfortunately, in the interim, a tomb robber was successful. What did they steal from this place? If you can, choose something that's already been introduced. If not, feel free to add to this place.
Okay. Remind me what was in this hallway here.
To the north.
Yeah.
It's a long hallway that thrums with old magic and seems to kind of lead to a door. Among it are the bejeweled skeletal bones of the horror or the Royal Nasher or, ya boy.
Yeah, boy. Okay. Um, I think I'm are we allowed to say like how they took it, like how they got
Yes,
past
please
us?
do.
Okay.
You're mine.
So I think somebody who had some kind of cloaking magic came through and grabbed one of Nasher's bones. I'll let him decide which one is not there when he goes to put things together. And once that hand grabs that bone, of course, he starts to animate, and they make it out specifically because, again, they're cloaked and we don't have any way of knowing that they're there. But it causes a hullabaloo.
If it permission granting by the system, if I might continue to build on that.
Yes,
The
please.
Please.
Nasher is
do.
absolutely furious. The
Mm.
others, if they begin to reanimate at all, will see a number of scratch and clash and just destruction about that main central area. Not attacking anything of import, no sarcophagi are touched, but just the area is just like thrown apart as if by a storm of anger.
Mm.
And that doorway that gets sealed quickly has just a number leaving just the scratching and hitting light, probably leading to probably what's the next incursion into the tomb, um, of just this like fury, as the honestly the consciousness of the Royal Nasher is kind of a little bit split now, as that gem is taken far away. Part of it, it's kind of like seeing two things at once, but only out of one of your little bit of your corner of your eye, as it it just seems to have trouble holding itself together just that bit more as it you know bashes itself back into the walls and deanimates and goes back into its hallway.
If I
Yeah, I would say that was probably a pretty rousing just the fact that we could all feel that something was there and we needed to protect. I think it's a pretty confusing moment for everybody.
He stops and checks the doorway and then smashes himself into the wall.
if I could,
Mm.
You can't.
I'm going to add another World Crumble event. Because of that, a wall is going to come tumbling down that was blocking off part of the tomb. Nasher and Tabitha, would the two of you add to this map what part has been revealed from this wall being knocked down?
Well,
Oh.
I had an idea, but we could hold that for later. Actually, I think it'd be better because the all I had in mind was very sturdy. So,
Okay.
So this was just as you were starting to return, just one fist just lashed out.
If I could, I don't feel that Nasher is one of the people who knows the best about this tomb. I'd throw it over to Big Head, an outsider, who seem to know the architecture a bit better here.
That's a
To work
fantastic
to work
point.
with Headless, if they could.
Yes.
Yeah.
Architect, outsider. What's something that you feel might be revealed by a wall coming down?
Sorry.
I mean, off the top of my head, with like the acid and the rituals and everything else, I was thinking something along the lines where either like not necessarily research, but places where like different tomes and altars and like other types of like different practice and testing would kind of be. It was long sealed off for being incredibly profane, as it turned out later throughout time. But
Yeah.
it was unearthed once again as something. I guess something else profane. The grave robbing and desecrating ruins would be.
Tabitha, would you like to add that to the map?
Yeah, so let's say that is what, the north wall?
The northmost wall, that kind of like leading into the central chamber there, was the one I was thinking was very sturdy, but feel free to chip along to the sides or wherever.
What was this little black line? Kind of looks
Um,
like we've got a camera
this
plugged in
is-
here.
I made a mistake at the beginning. But it's leading to where the boss are, so
It's the vials are
out of the
there.
way.
The represented.
Yeah, they're
Oh,
at the
right there.
they're at the end of it.
Then I'm actually gonna have it be kind of an offshoot here of the of this space that was made for the Nasher. It was actually kind of created to make it look like this wall here was only for supporting that piece, but that something out kind of in this range is sort of a hidden space, an area that. Oh, hey map, come on over here. I'm not done with you yet. Where you go? All right. Oh, poor me as a kid. I must have been really bad at paint. So, yeah. So I think that just to the left of, if you can see that pink line that I drew, there's kind of just that spot is crumbling open, and there's like an old kind of dark. You can see like stains where, lots of blood was spilt and then not cleaned up for time after time after time, and it's just kind of, it's gross. It's gross in there.
Something like that. We cannot see your drawing, unfortunately.
Oh, okay, cool. Because I can't see what you're doing either. So yeah, exactly like that.
Yeah, I don't see you.
Perfect.
Oh, I can see what you're doing on stream, just not on the VTT.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And for some reason, my east wall just disappeared. It was like, no, you can't draw two things.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that eastern wall.
Yeah. I mean, poor Headless. My God.
So,
Really sad.
while you were doing that, I do have a question. Are we saying then that the cult that this facility was originally built for is no longer allowed to be practiced? That this is like a cult of mysteries that has been lost?
I'm dead.
Or-
I couldn't
or
tell
we
you
maybe-
all,
that.
or we
Yeah.
all died.
Who knows?
Well, yeah, the cult just died out because we
I
killed
will-
ourselves.
I do have a plot twist coming.
Okay.
Damn,
Well,
I'm waiting for the right moment.
as this
I was
room
making sure I understood the dynamics, that's
Yeah.
all.
as this room
It does
is
sound like it would be a
revealed,
religion. Huh?
as this room
Sorry.
is revealed, having been open to nature all of these years, the family of giant spiders that had taken nest in there comes bursting out. Their 4-5 foot long limbs all just stretching out, pulling themselves out of this crevasse and into your tomb. More of them than if your skeletal brains could count. There is more than countable.
Got all these motherfucking spiders in this motherfucking tomb.
I think
That dude be
All
wondering.
the little like sound alarms are going off.
Yes, you
And
are
Yeah.
all up.
I got you.
I think Big Head, like, the outsider mentally hears, like, telepathically Big Head saying, "What is the point of you if you can't keep control of that creature?" Because, like, because the Royal Nasher is the one that, like, just opened this, and Big Head's just furious.
Oh yeah, and like the outsider just like kind of gives like these like very like quick and apologetic nods. Like it has been radio silence from the skeleton like the entire time, like the entire like centuries or decades or however long we've been here all together. It's just been radio silence from that one. But yeah, this
Love
still
it.
understanding though makes those nods. And does their best to try to pin off these spiders, I guess. They are definitely not built for fighting, as you've all probably understood at this point. But they do have, kind of like, since they can't reach very far, since they have all these mismatched, like, scapulas and radius ulnas, like, they're not built for something like close combat, so they have something that can, like, reach a little further along, like, a spear or something, but there are like blades on either end of them. So just kind of goes for like a poke at some of them. Obviously not trained at all, but will try their best to take down some of these spiders.
Just pure
like-
effort alone is just jabbing the spear into some of them.
With a ha and a hi-ya, and I will kick them, sir.
Sorry, Nasher, were you saying something?
No. I figured it'd actually be better to type it to the group because I was also looking up the name of scapula at radius ulna.
Look at you
Well,
Learning
learning.
and shit.
in addition to the scattering ferocity that these creatures immediately display as they enter your tomb, there's also this odd, almost recognition with you as the outsider. The ones that you skewered obviously die this screech, but others stop, slow, they're skittering, the walls just covered in them, staring you down, almost like two forces ready to meet. And one just slowly crawls across the ground towards you. The spider leg just kind of taps against you, against the outsider.
Oh god. When the entire cast pokes me. Oh no. So wait, it's not attacking now, or are they just kind of?
They
Oh, they're just kind of chilling, or
they
just?
seem
Oh my god.
they seem oddly intelligent and graceful.
Okay. I think like I think the outsider might invite one of them like to like crawl up onto their hand, like one of the smaller ones maybe. Kind of looks at it like very absent-mindedly.
They seem to recognize the power that is being emanated from each of you, enough to animate a corpse over centuries. And they, in their own odd way, are almost calling for a treaty.
Hmm.
Of course, this is your tomb to defend how you see fit.
I would think that the call for us to defend would come when someone who had either malicious intent or any intent at all came in here. And I would assume that these creatures, unless they're sentient and have goals in that way, would just be alive and surviving, the same way that a lot of the other bugs that have skittered through here have over the centuries. So maybe it's a startling moment that kind of just ends in us settling back into our tombs and going to sleep as if we were just woken for a moment. Then it's like, oh shit, false alarm.
Obviously, Headless sees the threat and feels no need to respond. The outsider has taken one on their hand, and it's kind of started to skitter and even started to spin a web within what's left of your rib cage.
Hmm.
But since you were the one to respond, outsider, what is a question or memory that you would like to answer?
Yeah. As the dust settles and the commotion, for the most part, ends, they go back to doing the same thing that they have done, like almost like systematically, almost robotic at this point. Muscle memory, if they had muscles at this point. Going to take care of the Royal Nasher, like put everything back how it should be, and notices that one of the bones is missing. And there's like only this panic at this point. Is like, this is the duty that they were supposed to accomplish. Now something is wrong. um and they keep thinking back, it's like, who told you to do that? And like, what did they call you? What was your name? Or what was, not what the true name I guess was, but what the by name was. So I'm gonna answer at what the by name was that you earned in life that describes your greatest accomplishment. And I would like to change that a little bit, because I don't think the by name they were given was necessarily because they accomplished anything. It's just that they were found and could not communicate their name, so they were uh, given a name. And kind of whispering throughout the halls is the name Igor.
IGOR?
Mhm.
Well,
Sorry,
go
I have
ahead.
a
No,
quick
please.
question for Heck. Was kind of to go along with that, was Igor found here before they were a skeleton, or were they found here?
And I would like to answer that, because I wasn't okay. I wasn't sure if like how much of the space I wanted to take here.
Oh,
But yeah, no.
yes.
Okay. Listen, I don't know.
It
But
was
no,
that.
Igor is very much a something, or yeah, someone that was excavated after a long period of time sitting under this dungeon, basically forgotten to time and only fossilized and remembered by the bedrock that was under it.
Very cool.
Absolutely. Well, move over to the butcher. Is there a memory or question you like to answer? As your tomb seemingly has gained a new family of guardians.
It's at this point where the butcher feels useless and antiquated in comparison to these killing machines. You know, these spiders that have taken up residence here. In this moment, Butcher moves as the magic that keeps them in place commands, but there is no vigor. There is no animation with it. It is a recognition that in this place there is no glory. There can be no glory. and in that recognition, they are defeated.
Would the butcher even have arisen at this last intrusion?
I imagine when the skeletons animate, like you get those like glowing red things in the eyes that show the soul. The butcher's body would have moved, but there would have been no lights in the eyes. And the crest in their chest is like starting to rot, and that rot is slowly spreading.
Well, Royal Nasher, now missing one of your bejeweled bones. Is a memory or question you'd like to answer?
That is good information to know. Rather good information to share. I think I am gonna answer the question: who here among the skeletons once treated you with kindness? No, that's a lie. I lied to you just now. I straight up looked you scant like sideways in the eyes. I just stared at my screen and lied to you. I think as the Royal Nasher settles in and Igor settles them as well, I'm going to answer the question: what thing in this place came into being alongside you? And I think its memory is thrown back to an old time, back when things were more wild with magic, and it remembers at first being summoned and fighting in wars as a mad creature meant to be thrown at front lines and destroy and be brought back as suited their creators and be thrown together with wild abandon. And then it remembers long sleep. It remembers being summoned again. Uh, a plundering of a place that should have been left untouched and turned for other purposes by an order that didn't fully understand what they did. Or perhaps they did, and that's exactly why they did it. But it remembers getting life anew and being given to a new purpose, not to throw oneself ravenously into a cause, but to sit and guard and wait to fight and to be aware. And I think a part of that ritual is not only the reanimation of flesh, but the reanimation of uh, protectors and those who could tend to the body, but also separate creatures. A darkness that must attach itself to the soul of one who is without darkness. And that's what forms the bond. That is what identifies that which must be protected, not a command, but an appropriately monstrous connection. And I think as the Royal Nasher goes to sleep once again, he thinks of the small children and the darkness that lied in their hearts. But also, of course, Igor, because, Igor was there to take care of him, which is very nice. And he appreciates Igor, but also, the children are master. Children are important.
Well, following that, pretty. It's a question or memory that you would like to answer.
The To this question is you create the map together, the thing. Is that different from the answer these questions as time passes?
If you want to create part of the map as your memory, please do.
Sure. But the problem is I'm like, there's a two-parter to this, and I'm like,
Make it a
I want to
two-parter.
figure it out. All right. So if it's okay, I'd like to place something on the map and then answer a question.
Yes.
So, what beautiful artifact is enshrined in the alcove off the north wall? No, your answer on the map. Beautiful, and it's beautiful, large, crystalline. It glistens and it glows, and it's inset in what appears to be a large, almost case of magic protecting it, almost radiating. This artifact is beautiful. It is a Lich's soul gem, if I may.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing.
The Lich's soul gem. And it glows, pulsates this incredible green color, and it's old. Older than so much of this place. Older than the Nasher and Igor, older than all of us. It's going to be along the north side. So I think it'll be revealed altar room.
Okay.
There. See that?
Mhm.
And as it pulsates there, I'd like to answer a question. It's the wrong doc. What thing you once owned can be seen among the bones of the would-be robbers that litter the floor? The bones of her sister are still on the floor. There are runes carved on the bone. Pretty picks up, toddles off with, places in a pile in front of the gem. Those runes belong to her. Then she toddles back over. That is me answering the question.
Okay.
Sorry, did I?
No,
Should I
no,
not?
that's amazing. Okay. I think that leaves us with the architect, or no, architect and headless. Both use them to answer questions. So we'll go over to the architect.
This is so hard. Okay. The question I think I'm gonna answer for the architect. I think is who was the reluctant object of your wavering devotion? And think I think there's a memory from the architect. They're kind of going around and like, you know, taking stock of the things that they're supposed to be taking. And they remember again the person who like them. It's different. And before when they remembered it, they were thinking of themselves as they are now, a skeleton. But remember that was before, that was when they were human, and that they were being taught, you know, how to use like aspects of what they'd been asked to build. And I think, I think it's instead of them being necessarily like a leader of other people here, they were a very devoted to someone else who had them carry out their wishes, but was never necessarily respected for it. And I think remembers in that moment of seeing like their own some of the class, um, and in sharp contrast to another one of the skeletons was not in love, but was very on um, and like a pang of like a pain at remembering that.
Would you say that they are recalling that ugliness as an exterior, or were they ugly interior as well?
I think they cared that it was exterior. And I think the resentment of that feeling of not being pretty, um, like caused them to
Some of the
be
ugliness
ugly
to seep
inside.
inside. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, headless is a memory or question you'd like to answer.
I think that the arachnids coming into the tomb before, that whole concept as he's settling into, this is Ghost Malone and he feels like he needs to be a part of the day. Um uh it reminds him that his by name was Spider, and he was considered somebody who was very um just mysterious, and he always kind of carried that intentionally and would have that be a part of his persona, when he was out performing and things. He was very dark and very mysterious. And one of the things that people who knew him really well knew that they called him the Spider, because it seemed like he had his hands in so many different things that he had to have more than two hands. Like, there was, that concept, and that kind of brings back the memory of being somebody who utilized people for his own goals, and did things very selfishly. And it wasn't until he fell in love that he started recognizing what it felt like to want to do something for somebody else, and either protect them, or get them out of their situation to give them a better one with you or whatever. But just that the memory of those arachnids kind of brings that whole concept of who he was as a person, kind of washes over him and makes him feel uh it's a mixture of a really strange feeling of accomplishment that was there when he was alive, that he was, doing all these things and felt very much like he was in control, and juxtaposition of feeling very incompetent and unable to now perform any task and be a part of anything in any meaningful way. So,
Well, with the threat dealt with, all of you returning to your slumber, in your existence here, you have slept for years at a time, for centuries. This time, it's the blink of an eye. It's possibly weeks later, if that, when the entrance to this tomb that has been sealed off and reopened so many times is physically blown apart. Individuals come rushing down, weapons drawn, the legend of monsters existing here, passing through generation to generation across lands, stories of this place being told, and eventually coming to rest in the ears of the wrong individual. One that doesn't look all too different from all of you. Features gaunt and sunken in. No muscle to be seen, skin barely there. These soldiers that come rushing down, while they do register as intruders, they themselves have no flesh and blood. They have no will of their own. They march down in perfect unison, weapons drawn, as this individual just steps into your tomb, to the place that you have been sacredly created to guard. Which of you would be the first to meet the challenge of this individual?
Big
I-
head still
Go.
has to go.
Oh no, are we doing a nose goes? Haha. I don't have a nose.
The Big Head is the only one that has not yet charged out to deal with him.
Ooh, okay.
Architect, strike
Then
it down.
Then it can be big.
Big head.
I want to see
Oh,
Big Head charge. That's really all I want to see. I just want to
Big
see
head
it.
attack.
Can we get an animation of that, please? Anybody in chat who wants to animate random crap? I want to see Big Head charging.
Big head, go
It help-
down, go forward.
Yeah.
Big
Oh,
head,
oh, big
maybe,
head.
maybe this new intruder starts like taking the bottles.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. I was thinking now we have this like room of tomes and stuff like that that's been revealed. So I think maybe as like the bottles are being Big Head, instead of going straight for the intruders, knowing that they wouldn't be able to fight them off anyway, they're small and easily toppled. Goes to this like magic room with books and things, and like is going through some of them and trying to like find something that they can use to like counter this magic. And I think that's their method of approach. And they're like telepathically calling out to all the trying to get them to understand like the urgency that like if these bottles are destroyed, then so are.
Yeah? To get to the chamber where you know that there is magic here. You remember at least that some of the magic used to animate you and protect this place still resides here, and starts trying to pull it out. You remember being able to gracefully grab books, open them, and recite the words. But these books have long since rotted away to nothing. You're pulling out just rotted pieces of what may have been books at one point. Starts clawing at inscriptions that existed on the wall at one point in time. No longer. You can feel the call of this individual. It's not a malicious voice reaching out to you. It's warm and inviting. It tells you, do not fight. You will join me.
I think Big Head like shakes and responds telepathically. I serve only one.
You kind of cut out there.
Oh, they say I serve only
Okay.
Only who?
one person.
Only
But
one.
not-
Okay.
There,
not
this is
whoever-
Only
James
one.
talk.
The one got cut off. The one got cut off.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, Big Head says I serve only one person to this voice.
Okay.
cut you off again.
That is so
It
weird.
doesn't want me to be able to
It
say.
I
keeps-
mean,
You shall not be named.
I was ready for you to say I only serve the Royal Nasher, and that's totally fine.
That's what he heard. That's what he heard anyway.
Oh, hell, Nasher.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Well, as the architect does rush off, looking for some defense, we'll move down to Spider. No memories or anything yet, but how would you respond to this individual that has simply walked into your home, started to walk towards that chamber to the north? No regard for any of you, simply tells you that you will serve, and then brushes you off as if you were nothing.
I think that the like the telepathic feeling that's coming from the architect of this panic and wanting to get rid of this person and feeling, how do you say, rebellious against the concept is kind of going to lead him in where he's going. That's just such a strong feeling that he's like, I'm gonna follow that. And so he kind of heads towards where he feels this emanating from and just starts swinging. I don't know if he's close or not close or how much crap he's gonna run into on the way there, how much time this person has to defend themselves, but I'm going for it.
Yeah, absolutely. That a desire to defend, that impulse, it strikes true,
Yeah.
and you just go. You may not be headed in a straight line, just know that you have a job. This individual right now is the only thing you need to worry about.
Yeah, and the fact that someone's trying to take away the only goal that I've had for a really long time, that's like, I'm still trying to accomplish this goal, and so I guess if I have to beat your head in to be able to do it, that's what I'm gonna do.
All right. We move down to Igor. Your companions have started to split off, running in defense of your home. How would Igor respond to this individual?
Yeah, I mean, very similarly, like, the architect said to do the thing, and, you know, rolls up an alarm, so that's what we're gonna do. Is just going to, I mean, try their best to defend either from the soldiers that are coming in, or the actual, like, this new stranger that walked in themselves. Like, I don't know, I haven't really had much, like, thought about anything else yet. It's like, okay, I was given an order, I'm gonna go do it.
Following right behind the spider, you feel that call of servitude, of duty, and you're going to answer. The butcher, having not animated, having refused the call of service, the last time that impulse went through you all, does the butcher animate?
I do slightly. I'm thinking that the eyes are still not there, but the skeleton of the butcher does move. But as it moves, the most martial of all of us just starts to crumble in the weight because their rib cage has like fallen apart where they put the crest into their chest. So as they come forward, just falls apart.
For the first time since who knows how long, feel that duty, that fight start to return. That in life it was everything. And then, unfortunately, in that one instance where, again, you can rekindle that fire, that fury, that one step is enough, bones start to crack, under the weight of what armor and weapons you carry, it just starts to clatter to the floor.
And I think if I may make a suggestion,
Yes.
that my skull tumbles until it stops at Pretty's feet.
Absolutely.
Oh, trauma tonight.
Move up
Only thing on the menu.
to the
Lots
Royal
of good
Nasher.
work. I knew them well.
You just want to throw us up. Does Pretty want to go next?
In
Quick
response to the
question,
skull,
do we feel anything when one of us passes?
I mean,
I mean,
do you?
like, well, I mean, like, as because we're telepathically linked, so I'm wondering if, like, if there's a sense of knowing that one of us has fallen.
Could it be like we're in a room of candles and one goes out, kind of not fully present until a certain number, but even one going out is there's darkness there that you hadn't fully understood before.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Love
Yeah.
it.
Maybe there were 10 candles to start with.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're down one.
Yep.
We're down
10 little monkeys jumping up.
to 5 candles.
Oh,
Pretty.
Yeah. Ask a
Yeah.
question before I either cede the floor to our sweet Royal Nasher or bow or take the lead. On this skull, do I notice if there are any runes carved in it?
Butcher.
In mine?
Yeah.
Yes. They would have been placed there whenever I was bound to the place. And they would be in the same script that is on the soul gem.
Hoop might know where I'm going with this, but I gently pick the skull up and cradle it, and I'm going to let everyone die. And I'm going to slowly bring the skull to the soul gem and place it down and simply wait. I have a name that I think I've learned, if I may, at the last Hail Mary moment.
Yes.
We can determine that. Nasher, if you will.
Asher, please.
Would you like to go next?
okay.
There will not be fighting.
There's so sorry. Just to establish the necromancer is going for the jars that the rest of the group has established. Okay, I'm gonna say something first. I'm gonna throw it back to the rest of you for a good cutaway. I don't mean to like. I'll be the last one. Like I don't want to make it sound like I'm over here, breaking my elbow or something. But I got a note. You gotta trust me.
Have your idea.
I have my idea.
Your idea.
So the undead guards of the invader begin making their way all throughout, and the rest of the group is pushed back in defensive position to what they hold as their source of power. The Royal Nasher doesn't draw its power from the jars. It's always been, it was of course stated that Nasher takes its own and it seems to have been animated in some separate cause. And as they set foot into its tunnel, the place where no other undead would dare to step foot, the bones whip themselves into an inferno. And as that call for command seeks to place itself over it, it only gets rage in response. The undead guards are sliced as the Nasher isn't even fully corporealized, just a storm of bone and death and stone that pulls itself together. And I think there is actually an audible roar of scratching and just slicing of the stone and area around it as the magics of the tomb are drained by the presence of the intruder, and the stone and all of the nascent magic that kind of keeps it there has been slowly drawn away. But it just keeps adding the bones of the dead to itself as a kind of mishmash, literally smacking it into its body and letting the skeletal and zombified forms give it larynx to give out a bellow. and it
Very
is
cool.
some deep.
Absolutely. Well, with that in mind, they're pretty. Your allies disappeared from your senses. They've been either cut off from your telepathic connection. Maybe this individual's own magic is dulling it. Hard to tell. But what is your response?
A answer a question.
Yes.
I think all these movements are familiar to Pretty, and I think there's an anticipation that she hasn't had in a long time. There's been a resignation to something went wrong. There's been a resignation to her fate. Then the necromancer comes in. I'm assuming it's a necromancer.
It's a necromancer.
Fucking yeah, it's draining us. The undead. I think it's almost as if everything kind of flashes back. The time before in the ancient time, each piece of the puzzle falling into place as Pretty remembers. Pretty smiles and hears the roar of the Royal Nasher. And then she remembers herself in the past saying, "Good boy." And the moment she says, "Good boy," remembers the name Arosny. Remembers her soul gem is still there. She needs a fucking body. She will let herself be consumed with all these runes in front of her, hoping it will be enough to reanimate her and let her take at least partial control of whomever this is.
Absolutely.
Just like when she faked being sacrificed. I live to serve telepathically. No one suspects the pretty sacrificial lamb. No one suspects the pretty.
Well,
I probably failed, but
each of you, architect trying to scramble for some forgotten magic, for some defense, that influence just washes over you. Feel the call to serve. But it's not this tomb. It's this individual who has simply walked into your home, taken what it wanted, and has now started to ransack. Spider, Igor, the two of you cut down probably a dozen or more of these skeletal soldiers that have invaders. But in the end, they weren't flesh and blood. They weren't of importance. And their numbers overwhelm you. Your limbs ripped apart, that consciousness eventually flickering out, and your candle dying. But what's left of your reanimated spirit feels the pull of this individual, feels that drive to conquer. And there's maybe a little bit of recognition, a little bit of warmth there. And then it is simply an overwhelming, consuming, and you are gone. Pretty and the Royal Nasher. Two of you standing in defiance, in your own silent defiance. Feigned defiance, I should say. Or, no, sorry, feigned acceptance.
compliance.
Yeah, feigned compliance. After the Nasher tore apart the vast majority of this army that has entered the tomb. And then you hear, was it good boy? You stop.
And cry. I got black on my face.
You know that part of you knows what that means, even if all of you doesn't. Look over towards Pretty, who is standing in front of that gem in a accepting manner. The necromancer stepping into the room, If it could smile, it would. Reaches out, one hand towards Pretty, one hand towards the gem. In just a blink, both go dull and empty. The gem is left. It glitters in what's left of the lights, but otherwise has no life left in it. Pretty, similarly, collapses into a pile of bones. Nothing more than debris. As this individual steps out of the tomb, Nasher following right behind. Pretty, with your new necromantic army, a body that can leave this place, a consciousness that now knows conquering and hatred and true power. What would you like to do?
I would like to raise my friends and have them join me. I would like for us to leave this place together.
One by one, those candles ignite in a flame that has not been existed in this tomb for possibly ever. One by one, just again and again, until you all stand basking in the sun, in the lights, in the wind. New purpose. To take what you want and to ravage the life of this land. And that is where the tomb is now left deserted and empty for an epoch. Holy cow. This game
Everybody
is so good.
So
There's
I-
a banderia in the background. Dun-dun-dun.
was that
Yeah,
the lich?
I still don't have a head. I couldn't bring you the head back.
That's okay.
The necromancer, was that the lich?
Mm-mm.
No.
I was
Okay.
the ledge.
Freddy was a lich. Or at least
I-
if correct me if I'm wrong, but it was a ceremony to make you a lich, but it was either incomplete or it failed or something went wrong.
So Erasmia is a lich, a very famous lich from Pathfinder. I just stole the name because I don't like just playing like a sacrificial lady. That's not really something I was like, oh, I'm falling into that. I think I need to fix this really fast. So I'm sorry if I like jackknifed that and I was like, I can't let
No,
this just sit.
no.
Oh,
I need this
it's-
this sacrifice to be powerful.
It's actually
They're
so
fun for a
fitting.
reason.
It's so fitting that you put everyone together again and we all left, because I didn't actually get to answer the question of what my name was. And this was just going to be because like all of these different bones were like put together and are working, but since we're leaving together too, the name Simmel, which is a very old word for together, was going to be what I went with. So like that's awesome.
That's so cute.
And here I was just thinking that the butcher would be back in their armor,
Absolutely.
full identity, ready to wreak havoc.
I
Pristine.
think we have like the horsemen of the apocalypse.
Yeah.
We have, like I
Actually,
legitimately
I'm
do.
literally
Like,
the
we have
headless horseman.
war.
Wow.
We have fucking headless famine over here. War,
Well-
famine. Remember,
Pestilence. and death.
Pestilence.
pestilence has
death,
gotta
yeah.
be big head.
Yes.
Sweet religious pestilence, gotta be big head.
So, I do want to go around the table, give everyone a chance to explain how you feel your character ended up in this tomb. What were the events that led up to them being down there? If you don't know, that's entirely okay. That information could be lost to history forever. But I feel like we could start with the architect himself, the one that built this place. How did you end up being buried here?
I don't know. I had one idea, but I don't know if that's makes sense with what ended up happening. There was something that Tabitha said early on that was like they had been placed there as like not even necessarily to do a job, but to be punished. And so I kind of thought that that's maybe what happened with the architect. That it was like, because one of my questions was, who is the reluctant object of your unwavering devotion? So I saw it as like somebody like getting rid of the architect, like having
Ooh,
do all the work and then being like, I don't want you around anymore.
like
So that's kind of what I
your
was thinking.
knowledge and expertise. It was allowed to create this place, and they made sure that nothing else like this could be made.
Yeah,
Mhm.
basically, yeah.
Yeah, love it.
That would make sense. Create a bomb and then get rid of the only person who knows how to take it apart.
Yeah.
Off Oppenheimer.
Well,
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
I was
spider.
thinking, yeah, like got cat hair everywhere. It everywhere. He's not loving this 101-degree weather. Um, so I was thinking that when upon reanimation, um, the gaps are kind of filled in his memory, and uh, his Banderia is given back to him, and it's kind of the wood is supple again, and the strings are perfect, and um, just holding it in his hands gives him this feeling of uh, the ability to achieve and accomplish, because this is something he knows. He didn't necessarily know killing, he didn't necessarily know serving other people, but he knows this. And he remembers like all the floods of time that he spent with this woman and writing letters and how that whole thing went about. And he can look now at each of these people and he knows that the architect was the one who he betrayed by taking his wife and his love. And the reason that he ended up down here is because the architect found out and decided, okay, I'm going to use, and if I step on anything that you don't want to go with, let me know. But I'm going to use my authority to choose sacrifices and say these specific people are who the gods have told me it's time, and they're the people who helped facilitate this affair. Um, and so perhaps that's one of the reasons that the architect was also put away, was because once that was discovered, it was like, okay, well, you can't speak for the gods. So, that type of concept. So I think he feels torn because now he's serving with people who he's done wrong and who have wronged him. But that kind of just falls away to the fact that I'm here to serve another master now. And, pretty is the new um, subservient factor that I'm going to, like, gotta worship the pretty. So,
Worship the
Don't
pretty.
we all?
yeah, I'm just gonna stand behind pretty at any given moment with theme music. Make things really dramatic
Yes.
whenever you need it. I'm there to
The one
bring the
gif.
drama minus a head. So I
Well,
never speak back. I never talk back. That's a great, great
yep.
quality to have in a guitar player.
Also, you can never be a lead singer.
Yeah. Always, always in the background.
Igor.
Yeah, I think that Igor slash Simmel was uh after like the first or second question, I was like, oh no, the skeleton's gonna be a fossil and it's gonna be great.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like what I like to think is they very much started out as some type of like Frankenstein's monster kind of thing. They were just kind of put together to be some type of like servant or something like that for a very magical being. But as that age came and went, Simmel stayed there. And the language died as well. So when all of these people um, entered this dungeon and, you know, subsequently died there, they didn't know how to communicate with them. So there was just kind of radio silence over that telepathy because they didn't understand. Um, but yeah, they were just kind of they were kind of given this name after however many eons it had been, and just kind of went back to the role that they knew and taking care of this royal Nasher, and the rest is history, kind of.
Quite literally, you are history.
Yeah.
um, Butcher.
Yeah, kind of went through the life story of the butcher, rose in prominence through being a literal butcher on the battlefield, cutting people up like meat. Took some position of authority at some point, and then things started to come tumbling down around the situation, and the butcher was expected to give their adopted daughter up for sacrifice, and had a change of heart at the last moment, trying to reclaim what they felt they had lost, and didn't do so hot at that. Just kind of went back to the barest, like, semblance of what they originally were back on the battlefield.
Well, I feel like the two of you could be interchangeable there, especially at the end. But Nasher, how did you end up there?
Sure, my goodness. The Royal Nasher, the Royal Nasher knew there was a simple time when he was summoned and attached to the darkness within a young creature's heart, sworn to protect them. And his true name is something that a young mind would think of, puppy. Um, and it was simple as that. It was the sworn abominable protector of the royal line, uh, more strongly attached to one than the other, it seems, as the darkness held better to one as than the other. And it was cared for by the ancient protectors, which knew the magic by which to bind the strange powers that allowed it to reanimate and conglomerate itself and be a war machine that never truly died, but turned into a strange royal pet. uh, Once a point of pride, and then a point, and certainly then a point of fear, and now in the end times, back to being a monstrous abomination that scourges the land as its master sees fit.
Fair
Abs-
amount of free will here, I will say. You all have a fair amount of free will.
Yeah, but it's your puppy dog. Like,
Aw.
You play fetch, like
mhm.
people's heads, you know.
And I mean, as far as free will, Butcher, like, spent the entire time being a skeleton as eroding away part of their soul. So I feel like all that's left is the killing.
Yeah.
Well, have at it. The world's our oyster, baby. Have at it.
Speaking
The world.
of the new fully empowered Lich, the missing component apparently being the soul and magic of a powerful necromancer, having unlocked your true potential. Pretty. What was your story?
So, Pretty is was a fragmented person. She tried to Erosnia was a lich who she tried to become a lich. Something failed, and her consciousness was kind of scattered. I think that's why there's random runes on a bunch of little kids. And they grew up and they all kind of collected in one place, all these runes that go with this soul gem. And each piece of Erosnia has been working to find its way back. Pretty sacrifice, whatever her name was in life, was a fragment apiece. She lived a normal life. She didn't have power. So she just had a lot of bad luck. She was an orphan. She got taken in by a couple who were fine, who were killed by the butcher who took her in, who was fine. I feel like, I don't know, the butcher could love so much after butchering so much. Butch is
Probably
gonna escort her to
slightly
the dances.
distant, but you know.
No,
He doesn't
teach
bring
her
his
how to
work
play
home
catch.
with him. It's fine.
Bring Virgo. Then really enjoyed like the company, has been trying to seek out others like her. What happened to wake up, like get sacrificed, originally was trying to get close to the architect because that's where this piece of the soul was calling her. Ended up getting fucked over. I think she was like a vain little precocious, loves pretty things. The more like self-indulgent part of this person fucked over, got murdered by the architect, brutally murdered, and then just was like living by the soul gem, waiting. And it wasn't gonna be until the right moment happened, if it ever happened, that Rosnia would return. And Rosnia's now here, chilling. Got her dog, got her fam. Really, we're gonna burn the world down. We're gonna burn it down.
I hope you
It's gonna
know
be fun.
that I am now planning a Pathfinder one-shot where a group of heroes are going to track down and fight Rosnia, her giant skeletal abomination, and
Hey,
family.
it's a name.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Family.
you
Royal
called me an
Nasher.
abomination.
He's in
Uh,
a
Yeah.
dog nation.
Also, yeah, put some respect on the name. It's the Royal Nasher. I mean, rattles when it walks, it rattles when it eats your comrade's body and adds it to its own.
That's the Addams Family spinoff I need. I don't know about you all.
Da-da-da-da.
The only
Yeah,
ask that I
fam.
think Erasnia ever has of the new team is one, like, go rule, do your thing, be yourselves, be true to who you are. But also, if you go somewhere nice, bring back something shiny for Erasnia.
to your entire army of countless undead soldiers, or just these 5?
Just to me, I think just give the shinies to Pretty. I think that's something. She's a little broken by the experience, and she's very fragmented. She's not fully a person. She's now melded with this asshole.
So, did the necromancer come there knowing that
Mm.
he wanted to fulfill this purpose from this tale that he had heard of long ago, where he could reanimate this amazing, powerful being? Or did he just go in there because he wanted some more skellies?
I think the necromancer thought that they were going in to cheat death and become a lich themselves, like learn the
Mm.
secrets.
We had the door, right, with the energy, and it would make sense, like, there's a shitty little soul gem in a corner. A
Yeah.
whole bunch of humming energy. Where would you go?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that they thought, like, the source of the necromantic power. What was behind that door? Can we get an answer? Can we get some info?
Well,
Behind the
if-
door.
Excuse me, what's behind the door? Excuse me?
if
Excuse
no one
me, are you
else
open?
if no one else jumped on it, it was going to be the soul that the Nasher was going to protect. But I think in this case, it would be the phylactery of
Mhm.
of
Can
Pretty.
we not use phylactery?
Oh, yes, sorry, yes.
Yeah, soul gem.
Yes, the soul gem. Like the true, like not the trapped one that tried to suck the energy out of, but the soul gem that that like truly held the kind of energy of the of Pretty, and yeah.
This. Thank you all. I'm so sorry I
No,
turned this
don't.
into a win
No.
game. I
Not-
win.
This was amazing. You are
This was a
all
we win game.
so
is a we won
fantastic.
game.
This game was so much fun. Thank you all for being here and for supporting us. Thank you to my lovely cast for being here tonight. You were all wonderful. Yeah, this game is absolutely nothing but improv and roleplay and emotions and feelings and history. And
Not one dice.
no, I
Not
mean,
even one.
I
Not
rolled a
one
d6 a
die.
few times, but just me.
You know.
I'm absolutely going to be playing this again. You'll see this on the channel multiple times, probably with different DMs, different casts, and we'll get different stories out of it. But I do want to give everyone a chance to once again tell the people who you are, and if you're working on projects, people can check out where they can find said projects. Get back to the screen that I should be on. And we'll start clockwise with Matt up there. Haha.
Haha, hello. I am Matt or Sin. Synthetic 20 is what I typically go by. Got the thing over there. Uh, I in I write TTRPG supplements during the day, but also by day I stream comfy, cozy games. So if you're needing a come down after this, you could drop by my stream tomorrow at Synthetic 20 TTV and not experience a load of trauma. But if you're interested in the TTRPG stuff I write or in the games that I play in that I'm cast in, then you can follow me on Twitter with all of that information there.
Heck. And then we'll move on down. Speaking of heck yeah, down to heck.
Me, Saracolet, Um, you can find me on all the social medias at Sir Hecla, including Twitch, Itch, Twitter, just all over the place. It's usually the best place to figure out where I'll be next in the TTRPG space. Um, but kind of across the board, you can find me every Saturday over on the Hype Goblins channel, playing Numenera. We just got past the halfway point and it has gotten so interesting. Y'all, oh my gosh, the lore is so deep and there's so much political intrigue and we are in like such a like a social political web that we have to navigate at this point. It's wild. It's absolutely wild. So catch that every Saturday over there because it's amazing. You can find me over on Nat 20 every other Thursday playing All Hail the Queen is a Tyranny of Dragons campaign. We just came back from hiatus, so we're up and running again. And it's good to be back. It's so good to be back. Speaking of Nat 20, this is a new development, and I'll let Turk talk about it more, but you can see me over on Nat 20 on the 15th. I'll let him talk about it more, though. But he's got stuff going on. And then on the 18th, you can find me on my personal channel doing our monthly podcast, Dungeons and Discussions, where we talk lots of D&D slash TTRPG stuff. Just one topic each episode for the most part. And I think that is about it. Let's keep on keeping on.
Very cool. Down to Tabitha, who I believe this was your second game with us?
With you, yeah.
With me
'cause
specifically.
I did, yeah. Um, yeah, and I'm relatively new to TTRPG in general. As I was stating to the cast before we went live, I was raised in a very religious household, and so there were certain things that I didn't really participate in. The Satanic Panic was very real in my house, and so I'm just now kind of branching out, and I'm an actor from the Pacific Northwest. I love improv, I love acting, I love accents. And so as soon as this kind of came back in and I saw CR and I was like, oh, this is a thing I could actually do with friends and enjoy. And, I don't know. I've just really been digging it. And this is very different from the other games I've played. So that was a lot of fun. The fact that, because my brain can't math. So if I don't have like, D&D Beyond in front of me or like a dice roller on my phone, it's going to take me a minute to be able to explain to you what I just rolled. So to not have to roll at all and just be able to tell a story and take turns without stepping on each other and actually growing something together was really cool. Yeah. So what do I have going on in my life? Yeah, it's not much there. But yeah, I've got a couple there's a film that's coming out that I was a part of called Outpost that you might see soon, hopefully. Um, directed by Joe Latruglio, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He's Boyle, if you guys watch that show.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool. I got a small part in there, so you'll see me screaming at somebody. That was fun. But yeah, so other than that, we got a film that we created coming out called Waking Lazarus. That my boyfriend wrote the book for it. It's been published a while back. And now we've decided to make a feature film out of it. So that's in post production and it should be coming out soon. I'll let you guys know on my Twitter when all that's going
Yes.
down. So yeah, go ahead and follow me at Brooke Tabitha. BROOKETABATHA. Be quiet, ghost. Nobody cares. So yeah, that's it. So check me out on the tweets.
Heck yeah. Well, then we'll move
Oh, and
over.
invite me to your games and stuff.
Yes, do.
Because I want to play. I just want to play so much.
Yes,
I
invite
do
all
all the
these
playing.
lovely people to everything.
Yes. Can't wait to do this again.
Over to Taylor.
Hi, I'm Taylor. I played Big Head. And you can follow me. Yeah, all hail Big Head. You can find me on Twitter at rollforfelicity. And then also I'm on Twitch, which is also twitch.tv/rollforfelicity. I do about 2 one-shots a month in a bunch of different systems. The ones that I have coming up in August, on the 13th, I'm going to be running a game called Cantrip, which is a belonging outside belonging game about a school for witches. And then I don't have the date yet, but I'm also going to be running a game called Paris Gondo, the life-saving magic of inventorying. And it's kind of like an apples to apples meets tabletop RPG. There's like cards that you get, and like if you take too much stuff, then you might die on your way out of the dungeon. But if you don't take the right things, you also might die. I'm really excited about that one. And I'm also going to be over on Chaotic Wonderful, their Twitch stream. I'm going to be, I don't know if I can say what they are yet. I don't know if it's announced, but I'm going to be running a mini campaign that I'm really excited about. And if you like belonging outside belonging games, then you'll like it. And then I'm also going to be guesting in a mini campaign over there as a player. And then last thing I'll say is you can also follow me on YouTube, where I put all my previous VODs of one-shots that I've done. Most recently, it's not up on YouTube yet, but it will be soon. I played the game Orbital Blues, which is a Cowboy Bebop-inspired system, with my friends Jason and Tag, and then also Michael from Actually guested on that one, which was really exciting. So that's really fun. That'll be up on YouTube soon. And then yeah, if you want to see stuff that I'm doing in the future, you can just follow. That's me.
Heck yeah. And then over to the Lich, the Necromancer, the Undying God. Wait.
Hey, pretty. Please. It's great to be on your talk show tonight. Hi, I'm Fleet Dietrich, pronouns they, she. You can find me at Fleet, FLEET_Dietrich, DETRIK, on Twitter, where I have just released my new solo journaling SRD called Folds, where you can build a solo journaling game with a cootie catcher, which is something I've wanted to make for a while. I stayed up until 2 a.m. last night making it, so I'm tired. But very excited about that. I read a lot of modules. You'll actually see one of those modules here at Lost Caravan, the Morkburge Vanity Bleeder, a yawping scream of a house crawl with a few people. Turk and Hoop over there are going to be involved for sure. So come see me then. You're going to also be seeing a lot more of me on Lost Caravan for various reasons I can't disclose right now. Did I pay off Hoop? We don't know. Yeah. However, my PC has just been fixed, which means that I can now say, if you follow me, Fleetwood Flack, on Twitch, I'm going to start show running my own seasons of different TTRPGs. We're going to kick it off with Bubblegum Town, which will be a Vampire the Masquerade season. Hoop will be involved as well, so you'll see him there on my channel. Get excited. I'm also going to be doing a Buttermilk Princess run as well, the Butter Princess new system, where you go mad at a county fair over statues of butter. So look out for that. Follow me on the platforms, the things. You can find my schedule. I usually post it weekly. I've been really bad about it these 2 weeks. I'm tired. But it'll be up, be good. Come hang. I don't know. What's up? Eyeshadow itches. Don't put it all over your face.
Or two, because it looks amazing.
I don't know what you're
Turk,
talking
what
about.
do you use? What do you use?
Face paint.
God damn it.
That's all.
Speaking of Turk.
Hi. Don't be me. I make bad choices. Anyway, hi everybody. I am Turk or Turk accented on Twitch and Twitter. I do Mad Hatter voices. That seems to please people to no end, but also
Yeah.
amongst a variety of other things. Um, I was your Royal Nasher and Puppy tonight. And if you want to see more of me and the things I do, I have some great news. My schedule just like repopulated itself after some stuff. So, next time you can find me, of course, is this Sunday over here on Lost Caravan with more Lancer, as we do a lot more necromancing in the dark. Beyond that, there's also the return of some very horny vampires, and also I'll be there on the 11th. And then, as I alluded to, on the 15th, I'll be over on Net 20, um, where I will be playing the department, which, well, rather, I'll be GMing. I'll be handling the department, which is a Delta Green it's a campaign of one shots where it's a modern day Call of Cthulhu with all the eldritch horror and terrible, horrible repercussions as you expect. So, we currently have two of our 5 slots filled. So if you haven't had a chance to, get yourself over there yet, to, you know, still, feel free to reach out, and we'll see how quickly we can onboard everybody and get everyone set, and then maybe you can join us. If not, then it is a monthly one shot for the moment where I'm just running through some fun scenarios. So you can't catch us this time, you can catch us next, and I'll be of course involved with the Merkberg situation going on later in the month, and more things to come here. But also, if your oats have not been sufficiently warmed, keep an ear to the ground because we're figuring out how to warm those oats in the future. That's a reference like 6 people are gonna get.
Yeah.
But thank you all so much for hanging out, and please support the people you see on your screen. They're incredible, and they carried me through this whole thing. I had to paint my face just to be as cool as them.
Oh, stop.
I will not. So yeah,
You should.
go give them a big follow and money, and throw money at their faces because they deserve it, and put them in all the games. If you reach out to me about playing a game, I'll throw each one of them. So yeah, I'm gonna go do something awesome for someone today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, of course, I am Andrew, your games master for the evening. And in this light, I'm feeling like a candlelit Zorro kind of vibe. I'm kind of,
Yeah, man.
I'm here for
I
it.
was just gonna ask, like, what's the spark? What's going on? Are there studs? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, this is my, I'll show it off.
How many fingers do
That's
you have on your
cool.
left hand?
I want you to know, secret. Whenever I was first describing the first person that we killed, I was just looking at him and describing what he looked
Aw.
like.
That's so nice. We killed you. We
Amazing.
killed you in the game.
But
I
yeah,
couldn't go without revealing that. Sorry.
this game has been amazing. I absolutely love storytelling games. The only dice that I rolled was just to see which of the events was happening as, the time was passing, and that's it. Other than that, this is a diceless game. You can even choose which scenarios you want. You can play this game by yourself if you just want a single player storytelling opportunity. Absolutely amazing. It's called The Skeletons, plural. Hold on. The Skeletons by Jason Morningstar. Highly recommend you go check it out. It is beautiful. The next time we play it, we're going to be playing the Echoes of War version, written by Sarah Williamson. So we'll stay tuned for that. But yeah, absolutely go follow all these people. They're amazing. You have all been a wonderful cast here tonight. Could not have asked for a better group of nerds to tell this beautiful story with.
Yeah, except for on the sequel.
Tomorrow, we do have a game of Pathfinder, where our adventurers are called upon to aid a very, very downtrodden and poor actor who just needs help and is helpless, and just get rid of this bad man who's telling lies about me. I'm sure there's nothing bad or tricksy that's going to happen at all.
Not.
No.
Just
Kinda
a
smoothly.
straightforward premise.
Yeah. But yeah, our good friends over at Magia RPG are live right now, so I am going to throw a raid over to them. But before I do that, once again, thank you to my lovely cast. You are all amazing, amazing people. Thank you to everyone that came and watched and supported us. We literally can't do this without you. So your support and your continued watching of us is absolutely just, it warms my undead heart. And yes, all hail Big Head. And with that, I will bid you all a goodbye, a good night, and see you next time. Bye, everybody.